Amity Global Business School, Noida. On behalf of my director, Dr. Girish Kathuria, and Dean, Dr. Aparajita Das Gupta, I welcome you all to this session on technology new beds. I am honored to have Mr. Neeraj Vedwa, who is founder and CEO of Accelerate Dubai, advisor to International Finance Corporation, which is World Bank Group, a board member to Hush Bank Mongolia, executive advisor to Backbase, executive director Zebia, advisor to companies like Admission, ID Mission, Actico, CRM Next, and he's also on advisory board of Accent Business Technology Incorporated. In the past, he has served companies like Modi Corp Limited as National Sales Manager for India, Nucleus Software as Chief Operating Officer and board member for subsidiary companies, Temenos AG Switzerland as Director Global Consumer Banking Business and member of Management Board. He has also served companies like Tech Mahindra as Senior Vice President and Global Head for Banking, Payments and Cards. He is internationally experienced C-suite leader and business member with 33 years of experience. He has successfully managed profit and loss, sales, marketing, operations, delivery, merger and acquisitions of companies and subsidiaries. His domain experience spreads across financial services, digital and Internet of Things, organization change and transformation, vision and strategy execution through run, grow, and change methodology. He has been a catalyst to turn around and grow companies to global scale through organic and inorganic strategies. He has led acquisitions, integrations, transformations, and delivered profitable business growth over a sustained period while contributing to community. We are honored to have you, sir, with us today. And I would like to invite you to take the session forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra, and good afternoon to all the members of the Amity University ecosystem, professors as well as students. It's obviously my honor and privilege to be speaking to you. I would have loved to be at the campus and speak to you. I have many years back, I had spoken when I was with Nucleus Software as CEO, I had spoken at Amity, and a lot of management graduates were actually recruited by Nucleus. And I'm very happy to say that some of those graduates have done exceedingly well in Nucleus. And I was not some, but almost everybody did extremely well. And today they are in leading global positions. So some really good students come out of Amity, and I'm very happy to talk to you. So I'm going to try and be as less technical as possible. A lot of my slides will be a little technical because I represent a lot of companies. But my focus on today's session is going to be obviously the new technologies and how they will change the global landscape. Obviously, everything is an era of disruption. So that's why this first slide that you see here is all about Internet of Things, etc. Now, I'll just give you a brief, though Dr. Mishra has already spoken about it, but I'm a board member of a large bank in Mongolia, which is invested by World Bank. Mongolia is a very far off country, but it's a very exciting country. I'm also part of International Finance Corporation, World Bank, as an advisor. And I'm helping a lot of banks around the world. There's a bank in Mexico, a bank in Bangladesh, there's a bank in Egypt, where I'm helping them in digital transformation, because everything today is all about internet and digital. I founded my own company, and then as you can see, I'm an advisor to some leading companies. Now, what does Backbase do? Backbase is a leading digital mobile banking platform. Zebia is a company which does all the new age technology, which I'm going to speak about, and some of my slides are from Zebia. I also work for various companies here, Actico, CRM Next, Ascent, etc. These are all companies which are into IoT, into artificial intelligence, and etc., etc. I've also been, for many years, I was on the FinTech 50 Asia Pacific core team, which basically FinTech is financial technology, all the startups. And I actually helped and incubated a lot of FinTech companies to gain scale. Overall in my career, I've traveled to more than 104 countries, so that's a lot. I have enabled more than 1,000 banks in my career through various organizations. I've been on boards, I've turned around companies, etc., etc. My and I'm going to be writing a book on my unique experiences. Some of my other hobbies are like golf, traveling, hiking, sailing, etc. And I've represented India in yachting. I've been the Delhi University swimming captain, as well as Delhi State swimming captain, Delhi schools captain, etc. So that's my introduction. I'll move to this slide, I think, which is very relevant because everything today is how the internet is changing and how the world is coming into a stage of disruption. And I'll quickly put these slides here. So if you were to look at this, today everybody talks about the following, right? Internet of Things. People talk about machine learning. There is artificial intelligence. There is blockchain. There is virtual reality. There is mixed reality, augmented reality, and now you have a new term which is called extended reality. Everything is moving to cloud. There used to be data warehousing, but now everything is about data science. And this is all about cybersecurity. So these are all the emerging technologies which are relevant to whatever we do in our lives. And as you guys graduate and you move into your, into your places of work, you will find that everybody will be speaking about these things. Everything will be empowered by these 6 or 7. And I will try and simplify the whole thing. If you look at this next slide, here I am actually talking about some of the global Indian leaders. And as you look at it, IBM is today run by an Indian, Arvind Krishna, Google, Sundar Pichai, Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and I think you already know about this. Payments, MasterCard, and MasterCard has now become the largest payments provider. Almost everybody carries a card. It is either a Visa or a Master, but MasterCard has been totally turned around over the last 7-8 years by an Indian gentleman called Ajay Banga. Adobe, which is again into Photoshop and all the software that we use, and they're now getting AI and a lot of machine learning into their platforms. So we have Shantanu Narayan, and Nokia is again run by an Indian. So there are some of the things. There are many more. But why I chose this slide was important, that almost everybody here is at the cusp of technology, leading edge technology. So IBM is introducing so many technologies for the new age, and I will talk about them. Google has already introduced so many technologies. Actually, our phones, everything Google knows, right? Even if your phone switches off and you're on a flight, it knows from where to where you have done, how many times you click, what do you browse, what do you open. It's got complete behavior analytics of every person. It knows somebody, it knows a person better than yourself. So if I were to ever ask myself, what do I know? I would tell Google, why don't you tell me? And they will tell me better. So this is just a representation that, there are a lot of Indians who are behind the cusp of technology. You heard last week that Google is investing $10 billion into India. You heard that Google is investing a huge amount of money into geo platforms. Everything is geo. I received a message this morning from somebody a very senior person in Geo, and he actually put it up on Facebook saying that in 2 years' time, everybody will be carrying a Geo phone. We'll be doing calls on the Geo Meet. Everybody would be on a Geo glass, and people will be using Geo platforms, and people will be doing e-commerce instead of Amazon. It will be Geo, and everything around us, including the Geo, the Geo TV channels, etc. It's everything. Your life will be centered around Geo. So that is the kind of ecosystem that this is called disruption. So that's why I chose that all these companies who have actually gone into disruption have actually succeeded. Even Nokia, after leaving the phone business, is now very strongly back in terms of the infrastructure of 5G, which is coming up. And there are a lot of Indians behind this. Now, what are the new technologies that I spoke about? Internet of Things. Spoke about data science, AI, machine learning. In the software term, there's agile and DevOps, which basically is something about doing in containers, doing parallel activity in comparison to the previous way that you used to do in a certain way. There is software on cloud. Everything is on cloud, right? So you have your movies are on cloud, your sound and your audio, etc., Spotify, etc. Everything is on cloud, whether it's your social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc., everything. And then you have this hyper converged environment where there is virtual reality, augmented reality. So everything in life is going to move only towards videos and content, right? There is blockchain. I will talk about it. And so how does this impact the business? Obviously, it helps completely by putting everything on cloud. So the organization does not have to have their own infrastructure. It helps in getting great customer experience. It helps in facilitating great interactions via business apps. So today you don't need to visit a bank. I mean, during this last 4 months of COVID, one is, who are the people who have increased the sales? It's Facebook. It's Amazon. The net worth of Amazon increased 30%. Because everything was being bought on Amazon and obviously on all these e-commerce platforms. So everything is around what you see on a glass. So glass becomes the most important thing in life, actually. When I mean glass, it is your phone, whether it's a tablet or an iPhone or a computer. It's actually only a phone or a tablet. So everything is glass, and your glass is your life. You wake up, you pick up your phone, you see your social media, or somebody sees emails, and everything is there. You learn from the glass. So this is how it's going to be impacting the entire world. And very specifically, if I were to come to banking, and I want to, talk about this, because we have known that our parents would, say, well, I'm going to a bank, spend 2 hours, go stand in line, get money out, or do some transaction. Today, everything is done from your mobile. There is omni-channel banking. You can download a digital banking application. You can do facial and biometrics. You can onboard yourself, and you can become a customer within 1 minute. A credit card is issued within 30 seconds on your phone itself. It comes there. It comes prefabricated with that. There is chatbots which will talk to you, and they will help you in case there is big data analytics. Bank knows exactly what is your behavior pattern, because in India there is credit bureau, so it will interface with credit bureau. It can capture your face, which is face and biometrics, your hand impression, fingerprint impression, etc. So everything can be done. Nobody goes to a bank anymore. So what has happened now, that if you look at HDFC Bank and ICICI banks, etc., they are just stopping any more new branch opening. Everything is becoming digital. And one of the areas where technology is really evolved is banking. Banking is no more banking, it is technology. If you don't have technology, you cannot be a bank. Today, bank is known by as a fintech. If you can come up with some innovative ideas, then you are a good bank. The traditional banking is gone. So that's why I chose to put all these things, because if you see this evolution, and this will only increase, right? From a branch to a PC, Wi-Fi, smartphones, it's now become social media banking. It's become chatbots. There is machine learning algorithms. There is artificial intelligence, etc., etc. And I will cover some of this. Now let's come to the first topic. Everything today around us is the new things which are happening is all around artificial intelligence. In simple terms, there can be a lot of definitions, but artificial intelligence is nothing but a machine replacing human intelligence. Very simple. So what does it give you? It obviously improves the customer satisfaction. It improves the customer experience. Everything in life is about experience, right? You walk into a coffee shop, you like the ambience, you like the way everything is served. And of course, so it's about experience. You walk into a mall and you get an experience. The shop has to be very beautifully defined, etc. I mean, done up internally. So it's all about the experience. Everything in life is about experience. The clothes you wear, the clothes you see, the shops that you see, the kind of ambience, everything. So it brings in that. So obviously organizations gain a lot by imbibing artificial intelligence. That's the way the world is moving. It automates the processes. It improves huge amount of productivity and operational efficiency. And obviously a lot of mistakes are made by human intervention. That is generally, and I'll give you some examples. So you have a Google Assistant, right? So if you speak to Google, you say, I want, what time, please set up my alarm, open my Facebook, give me directions, everything Google Assistant tells you. That's a form of artificial intelligence where a machine has replaced. You're not asking somebody to get something for you, but you're just telling something to Google Assistant, they're telling you. There are voice assistants in various places, various technologies, which help you in reaching your end goal. There are chatbots, which is nothing but a robot which starts chatting with you. And there are two forms of, and I'll cover that. So for a minute, I will park what is chatbox. There is Cortana from Microsoft, which is an equivalent of Google Assistant. Then you have all these video streaming services where you can voice modulate to say, get me this picture, a movie, play me a movie from the 40s or the 50s or 60s or whatever it is. So this is just an example of artificial intelligence. If you look at the applications, so of most of the AI applications are in chatbots, predictive analytics, in content, web, and e-commerce. So there is online advertising, personalization, basically the user experience that you want to look at. There are chatbots, there is predictive analysis or analytics, there is web designing. Also today you can use on, by machine can automatically create your content. There is something called Pix, and then you can, you can basically go there and say, I want a web to be designed like this. It'll give you layouts and it'll just create everything. The e-commerce sites on a similar, they use a lot of artificial intelligence, voice search, email marketing campaigns, content, etc., etc. And this is only going to increase. So I'll give you some. So if you forget the slide for a minute, the AI use cases for, let's say for a digital, for a bank or whatever, I want to give that as an example. Today, you can go to an app store. You can go to both Google and as well as Google Play Store, as well as the App Store on Apple. You can download an application, let's say a DBS Bank. It's a DigiBank. You download the app. You open the app and it asks you for your telephone number. You put in your telephone number. It sends you an SMS. You say yes. So that means it has authenticated your mobile device. Everything is done. It tells you, please show your put your picture in front. So you put your picture. It tells you to move your face. You move your face. It tells you to put your fingerprints, which is obviously the Apple or the fingerprint app on the software itself, on your phone itself. And it goes within 1 minute, it will go to the credit bureau information site in India, which has got some kind of a background about your credit history, how you have spent, etc., how many loans you have, what is your salary, etc. In India, almost everybody has. And within a minute's time, it will open an account for you. So it goes to the back, it creates a. So basically what is doing, it is doing biometrics, it is doing KYC, which is know your customer. It is onboarding you as a customer, and within 1 minute it will tell you that yes, you can get a loan. So you click on the button and your loan is generated. You click, you want a card, they will generate a card on the web itself. You can use that card. Then the phone will have a wallet on it. So if you have a wallet, that card is linked to the wallet. So using the technology, which is the NFC technology, you can actually do contactless this thing. So in India, the wallet is not, the Apple Pay is still not out because of certain security reasons. But if you go globally, there is a huge traction. Everybody uses a wallet. So for example, I travel all around the world. I have my various cards on my phone or on my Apple Watch itself. And even my, airline boarding pass, etc., all goes on the Apple, on the wallet app. And you can actually do your payment. So there are lots of other things. There are pattern recognition, because there could be fake ID. You could put somebody else's picture. You could mask a picture, etc. So if you look at all these things, there are lots of things which are technical in nature, but I've given you the simplistic this thing. Behind that, what goes is natural language processing. I will talk about it. A lot of machine learning and perception, emotional technology, and I'll talk about this. But basic foundations are all AI. Now coming to chatbots, which is a very important component of the artificial intelligence engine. Chatbot is nothing, but it is a robot which is replacing humans. Simple definition. So there are three kinds of chatbots that you will have. One is an FAQ. You go to a website and it'll ask you some question. It has got a predefined list of questions, and you can click on one. It goes to the back end. It'll pick up the question and give you an answer. So that is FAQ. Just asking questions and giving you an answer. The next one is a virtual assistant. Virtual assistant is like he's as if he's your own assistant who will pick up your own information. So some kind of a picture will come. And it'll be like, it's obviously an artificial intelligence projected, which is a virtual reality picture actually. So some picture will come, man or woman. And you ask a question, or you type a question, or you can even speak. You speak, it'll convert the voice into text and give it back to the chatbot. The chatbot has got obviously some intelligence which is built in. And it'll take a question it'll give the answer from the background and give it and play it back to you in a text form. So it's voice to text and text to voice, but the backend engine, it is using the engine of artificial intelligence to pick up things. Now that's a virtual assistant. Then you have a virtual agent, which is something even beyond an assistant, because the assistant is helping you more in terms of your own information, personal information, etc. What is my account? What is my balance? It's simplistic. But if you want more complicated, that today this is my loan, or I have bought something from Amazon and it is so and so, but it was not good and I need to change it. Then it becomes a virtual agent which comes online. So and I'll place it to a lot of customer service. When you call a customer service, in a lot of places there is no human intervention. There will be a picture that will populate, a picture which is a moving picture. It's as good as it's a real picture of a robot, and it will start asking you questions and it'll do text to speech recognition. So what goes behind this? These are the three kinds of chatbots. where robo is actually replacing humans, and the usage is all across the industry. But if you look at it, the most important thing on the left hand side here is the intent recognition. Most important, the ability of this chatbot or a robo to guess that what is the user requesting. Once the able to understand what the user requesting, even if the question is not asked properly, people sometimes struggle to use the right word. For use of the right word, it should not be that the intent should not be. Now, like I'll give you an example. Example is in a real-time case that you bought something from Amazon, you want to return it. So you call up the customer service, a chatbot comes up and says, yes, how can I help you? And you say, no, I bought this, but this, but this, but this. So you tell a whole long story. It becomes very difficult for a chatbot to understand this. But that is where there is a whole lot of artificial intelligence, and there's another concept called machine learning, which I will talk next time, which continuously gets the machine to basically learn and give the proper answer. So this intent recognition becomes the most important thing. Secondly, it is humanization. So when you are talking to a chatbot, you should not feel that it's a robo or somebody from Mars who is talking to me, but it is like somebody who's human, but he's doing the work. And so that is humanization, conversation. Then there has to be channels, right? So you should be able to talk to a chatbot on a phone, on a tablet, on a, let's say on a kiosk, or it should also be on let's say on a laptop. So the multiple this thing, right? And then there are other things which are more, I would say more technical in nature, but these are important attributes of a chatbot. And chatbot, by the way, is form of an artificial intelligence, right? And again, on the chatbots, there are two kinds. If you look at the left-hand side is what I spoke about, which is the general AI platform. There are lots of platforms in this world, and there is IBM Watson. And I spoke about IBM before, but IBM Watson is a complete artificial intelligence, machine learning, NLP, neo-linguistic programming, or this language programming that we talk about. So it comes to that. And then there are Alexa from Google. These are all NLP and AI platforms which are there, which people use, right? Which enable the same. On the right hand side is basically messaging platform. So today you can actually do interaction with a bank or with a, let's say with an Amazon on WhatsApp. So you send a WhatsApp, what is my bank balance? And it knows that your phone number is coming from this phone number, and this phone number is linked to my bank account. So hence I will be able to give the information back. What is my next day of loan payment? Yes. When is my delivery of Amazon stuff, so and so. So everything can be done through the messaging platforms. You can also do today through Messenger. You can do payments also. You can create a payment platform on social media platforms, which is Messenger is one, or you could also do it from Facebook and even from Instagram. You can actually do it. Right now in India, it's not allowed, but as you go out of the world, people have the flexibility of being able to do payments from one person to the second, like you have your Paytm. Similarly, you can do transactions through Facebook, through Instagram, because they all have a payment gateway, and all of them use a chatbot engine. They use a payment engine. And here I'm trying to say that there are frameworks like, Alexa, and there is IBM Watson. So some of the big technology companies are power some of this stuff. Moving to the next slide, which is a continuation of AI. And here I'm talking about a couple of things. So here is virtual reality. I'll talk about augmented reality, mixed reality, and now there is a new term called extended reality, right? So, I mean, to make it simple, you all, I guess, already know this, but I just wanted to put the context that what does each one of them, what is the kind of a difference between the things. So what is virtual reality is something that you see which a computer does, right? It's a three-dimensional image to create an illusion, basically. So, for example, you are doing, you see this jogging on a VR on a TV, for example, right? Or you see this gaming, or you see flight simulation, right? So these are examples of virtual reality that what you see. So I know of people who have created cycling gyms, for example, all across Asia Pacific, in London, etc., where you get into a huge kind of a place, auditorium, and there are some hundreds of cycles. There are 100 people who come in. There are cycles which are there, the different kind of cycles. So you can choose your cycles, and then once you choose your cycle, right in front of you is a massive screen. You wear your, you wear an audio gadget, and then you say, okay, fine, today I want to cycle in the Swiss Alps. Tomorrow I want to cycle, let's say, in the Himalayas, etc., etc. So everything comes in front of you. So that is all virtual reality. These are all simulations. So flight simulations, when pilots are taught how to take off and land, and to land in some very hard areas, like, for example, landing in Leh Ladakh area. So you create a virtual reality. So it's an animation or a three-dimensional image of the actual site where you use. So it is used for so many things: military flight simulations, like gaming, obviously, theaters, architectural design, 3-dimensional architecture designs are coming up. Again, it is using in education, and flight simulation I already spoke about. Also this VR gaming. Now there are three parts to this. There is simulation, right? Which is simulation is simulating an environment in a 3D appearance. There is interaction where you have some kind of a human interaction. A Pokemon Go is a good example of a VR environment, virtual reality, where you actually use your phone and it picks up where you are. So that is a good, and I will share one slide on that. And there's an immersion, right? Which basically means that using all kinds of this 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, and now there is 20D also, you give a absolute human feeling, right? It's so that is what. So when you use virtual reality, is when you are creating a 3D illusion. Augmented reality is you take it a step ahead and get some human intervention. And mixed reality is a combination of both. And extended reality, which is the new term, which has just been coined a couple of months back, is using virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and bringing in IoT into that to create an extension that everything in the world. And I will show some good examples to you. Okay, I move to the next slide. This is just this thing. The numbers are pretty big. Like it's $215 billion projection on this AR VR. But video gaming, healthcare now is so doctors are performing surgeries now, as you are aware, it's all by robotics and by using AR, VR, etc. Engineering, live events, video entertainment, etc. But I think the video gaming industry is the maximum at this stage, and 3D engineering is it's only going to increase. This may be a little bit too technical, but what I'm trying to show is that a combination of cameras, which are digital cameras, digital image processing, analytics solution, and then rendering it across a visualized environment, okay? And then doing a lot of interfacing with multiple IoT devices and creating images, right? Is just a good example of an engineering analysis and a simulation system. It's too technical, but to make it simple, I just thought I would probably give one example that how in every area there is a great progress happening across. Now, AR benefit augmented reality is today just an extension of virtual reality, right? So I'll give you some examples. You go into a store, right? Or you don't need to go into a store. You go to Amazon, for example, right? And you want to buy some clothes, but you want to see how you look for it. Now, Amazon already has your picture, so what they will do is they will superimpose that particular clothes, jeans or a dress on you, and they'll say, okay, fine, this is how you look. So you can see it yourself. You get 3-dimensional image. You want to change the color, you can do whatever. So that's what you call as try before you buy. There are other examples in Seoul, in Korea, because people work from morning till evening and they don't have time to go to the grocery store. So what they have done is they've done at the metro stations, the gates, you have a glass wall before the train track. So some of the most important things that you need to buy daily uses, some 20 items they have put on the glass. All you do is you open the app of the merchant, and all you do is that you put a picture, and you put your phone in front of this thing. There is a QR code, it picks it up. Very good. So you pick up your QR code, and it automatically, because you have a wallet, it will make the payment. So you choose 5-6 things, great, and that is delivered to your house by 7 o'clock. So you have a second option. When you come back to the metro station, there is a counter. All you need to do is to do a QR code back, just put a picture because there's a sequence number. And here one robot will come with your, with your stuff and hand it over to you. You can go back in the train. So that's a good example of augmented reality. Again, demonstration of different products. People don't need to speak anymore, right? So it's a normal, there will be no human intervention, but the machine will take over, will do simulation, will show demos of various things. Another good example is training. And so augmented reality is where there is actually human. So you will see robots moving around. So for example, how to repair an aircraft, when, training on how to repair an aircraft, or how to, when a plane lands, it needs to be turned on within 2 hours. So what are the things that you need to do, right? You need to clean the toilets, you need to change the food, you need to put the, those books in, or the catalogs and everything. So all that, this is human, it's just visual training, right? Explaining concept, important concept, etc. So all this are the augmented reality benefits. Now we come to the next important thing, which is machine learning. Machine learning, simple thing, form a definition. It is nothing but artificial intelligence, where in artificial intelligence, it's a machine which takes over human intelligence. In machine learning, it's the artificial intelligence where machine keeps learning in the process. So it has got all kinds of data. Machine will keep learning from data. So you asking 100 questions every time, so for like the bank or even in, let's say, Amazon customer service. So chatbot comes in, and then so questions are being answered and answers are being given, they will measure what is correct, what is not correct, how to improve. And that machine will continue to look at the data, do the cable analytics on top of that, and then create, upgrade itself. So there is no need of a human intervention. So first is artificial intelligence, where we bring a machine which takes over human intelligence. Second is we use augmented reality, virtual reality, etc., to orchestrate the artificial intelligence. The third thing is where the machine continues to learn and becomes so powerful that it basically becomes the next level. And there are so many good examples which you keep seeing on the now. This basically, good examples are forming concepts and abstractions, problem solving, okay, and using various algorithm models. A good example is face detection, where the machine keeps learning that, for everything today, you need a KYC, right? You need a driving license, you need a KYC. You want to open a, you need a car registration, you need a KYC. You need passport, you need a KYC. So everything is about facial recognition, right? So how to detect whether the face is real, how to detect whether when people put in an ID, I mean, if I want, I can use an Aadhaar card, I can change the picture and I can put it, right? But there is obviously a lot of detection software which is available, which actually says whether the picture has been cropped. So all that comes in from machine learning. Email spams, how to figure out whether email is a spam, not a spam, because in today's world, everybody wants to market. Then credit card fraud detection. There are various algorithms. So to give you an example, if I buy something today at Delhi airport right now, for let's say 200 Indian rupees, and then within 30 minutes I'm buying something in Dubai in dirhams, in the Dubai currency, and then after another 1 hour I'm buying in the US. Obviously it's a fraud, right? It's known it's a fraud because this is an actual card transaction. There are two kinds. There is a card transaction, and then the second one is an online transaction. Either way, it detects from GPS, from your GPS position of your phone. It detects where you are, and it has also gotten built in that if I have to travel from Delhi to Dubai or Dubai to US, the time zones are fixed. So everything is today done by this machine learning. Machine keeps learning from it, so it can detect a fraud. Speech recognition, another example of, which is used very importantly in forensic and everything. So that's another example of machine learning, and there are hundreds of other examples on this thing. So basically, in short, machine learning is where machine helps you to make decisions. There is obviously a huge amount of data that is orchestrated, and on the basis of that, the machine keeps learning and upgrading and comes out with good analytics and obviously decisions, and those decisions are smart decisions. So no human intervention. There is obviously use of logical data. So when you use data, it is obviously better to be able to do this thing. And as I move, I will show you some more examples, right? I'm trying to build a whole story so that it makes it very simple for you to understand. I'm sure a lot of you already understand a lot of this thing. Again, machine learning is used in automatic language translation, medical diagnosis, very important, using all past histories or symptoms, etc. And as you know, that in COVID times, it started off with throat, and then it went into saying that there is fever, and then there's everything now. It can also be body ache, it can also be loss of taste, etc. So where did all this has come? This all come from data which went into the machine, and machine algorithms came out and said that this is the percentage. If you have so much, the first two, let's say 70% chance of probability is catching COVID within the first 5 days. That's 70%. And then the first two symptoms will be, irritation and a sore throat and, breathing and a fever. I mean, these are some of the first three symptoms, 70%. Another 10% is, loss of food. So they have done all this algorithm, and they have already predicted how it will happen. So that is medical diagnosis. Then machine learning is also used in stock market trading to figure out the past track record of the company and use based on trades, etc., to forecast. Online fraud detection, virtual personal assistant, self-driving cars, which is another good example of machine learning. And that Tesla today, a good point here is that Tesla today, the market cap of Tesla is more than the combined market cap of all the auto companies in the world. If you look at the Tesla market capitalization, very, very small company. Today, Tesla is, I think, is crossed almost $350 billion, which is more than General Motors, Ford, and all the Japanese cars put together. That's a good example of disruption. Why are they selling? Because everything is, they are into battery, and which is alternate energy, and they're into self-driving cars, and the self-driving cars are very well. They took the lead. Right. So then again, product recommendations, traffic prediction, speech recognition, etc., are all good examples. Right side is all technical, so we can avoid that. Then there is, again, on the machine learning, there is the natural language processing, and the good example of this is Google Assistant. And there are some various neuro NLP stuff which is there, which is basically which is an extended form which helps the machine to continuously to learn, but it is something which helps you to orchestrate the data in a much better way using speech, sound, as well as I'm saying speech, audio, video, as well as text, and it able to contextualize everything and create. So there are various platforms like Google Assistant, there is TensorFlow, there is Deloitte Neuroscience Institute, which they're developing, is now already out in Artemis. Coming to the alternate data, and I think this is extremely important because today, as I said, your phone tells everything. It's got the complete history, where you traveled, how much you've traveled, how much you have walked, how much have you used, how many e-commerce apps have you used, how much have you bought from Amazon, how much have you bought from Flipkart, how much coffees have you had, how much this you have had. You've got your bank data, so from the credit card information, it knows where you spend more. So it has got complete history of exactly what it also knows your salary coming in and how your salary has been changing over the last 3 years, and based on that how it is going to change. So if you are, let's say, working in Microsoft, your salary will go up by this much, and there are certain algorithms which are built into that, so everything is there. So from that they get to know whether you are high flyer, where you spend, what you eat, what you drink, how you spend your time, how do you exercise. And once you have all that data, you can do so much of analytics on the customer, right? If I'm and I'll give you a good example. I was in New York about 3 months back, and I was stuck for 2 months. And I obviously, because I travel so much, I have Starbucks, right? So I have a Starbucks app also. So what happened was that I was on Wi-Fi and I was walking in Times Square, and immediately I get a message on WhatsApp, which is WhatsApp for Business, saying, "Dear Neeraj, we value the fact that you love Starbucks. Very simple. You're in Times Square. It's 14 degrees. Your coffee is getting ready. Would you mind clicking this button and we will direct you to your Starbucks store?" Just amazing. So this is called contextual commerce, which means it has geofenced my location. The phone picked up my location and orchestrated my location to all the people that I use. So it went to Starbucks. So obviously there is a arrangement between Starbucks and the operator, and etc., etc. And from the Times Square, I said, "Oh, wow, this is fantastic, great experience." So I just clicked on that WhatsApp button. Immediately, Google Maps directed me to this thing, and then I went there. It knew that I'm coming there. About a minute before I reached the Starbucks cafe, I get another WhatsApp message: "You are 1 minute away. Your coffee is almost ready. And do you mind if we can deduct it from your standard payment?" Wow, that's an experience. I'll give you another experience. You are driving. So this is something that we built. So I will share that with you. McDonald's, right? So there's a technology that was developed. So in US, every every McDonald's or a Starbucks is normally, it's in a very open area. So you'll find an exclusive McDonald's area, which is on the highways and wherever, or even in the cities or towns and suburbs. And as you are driving, you come and you park your car. So when you're parking your car, you obviously go a little forward, little backward, you'll do a little bit of alignment, right? So immediately it's got geo sensors picked up, and it's picked up that, Neeraj is just like this. So I get, again, on my phone, I get a message that, "Hi, welcome back," because it's picked up that I'm obviously at, I'm parking at McDonald's area, right? So, okay, so should I get your favorite burger ready, etc. So, and should I deduct like that? So I'm just giving you an example of how things have evolved and moved to the next level. Another example of an augmented reality I would show is that there is a picture of the burger being made, which comes on my WhatsApp, and I click on that, and then, I can see the burger being made. So they have picked up the camera feed and they have put it inside, and I can see that on my phone. It's a good example of an augmented reality that you call it. So this is what I'm saying. Alternate behavior, since smartphones are capturing everything, the glass is everything. This is a very good example of how the world is going to change, and everything will. Now, and then machine learning comes on alternate data and takes it to the next level. So because there is a banking data, which is traditional bank data, there is your application form data, which is available, there is credit bureau data, and then the actual history of transaction that you do in a bank, that is there. Then it has got your social media, your telephone data, your e-commerce data. If you dovetail everything into that, the machine learning keeps learning, and it will keep predicting Mr. X is going to basically go like this, because generally human behavior does not change. If you like coffee, you will have coffee, and if you like sagar dosa, you will like sagar dosa. If you like to hang around in a cafe, all these things are there. Or if you like to hang around in a bar pub, so it basically is able to tell you what the patterns. So all those pattern recognition is coming from machine learning. So all this whatever I spoke is nothing but Internet of Things. So artificial intelligence, virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, and machine learning is nothing but Internet of Thing. And the simple definition of Internet of Thing is basically, as you look on your right hand side top column, where network and computing combines together. Everything is one. There are sensors. There's obviously the networks which are available. We will be having 5G network very soon, where Reliance announced that they will have 5G. 5G network will get you 1 gig speed, on your phone. Today we get like something like 100 kbps or some 300 kbps. In our house we get 100 mbps, 200 mbps. The best is Reliance Jio, which gives 200 mbps. I think SpectraNet gives about 1 GB of data, but you'll be able to get 1 GB of data on your phone, which basically means you can download a full 3-hour movie in 5 seconds, right? So that is where the world is changing. Everything is going to change, right? So this is nothing but Internet of Things, and everything is on it. So now everything becomes on Wi-Fi remote, right? So a good example will be 1 second. Yeah, here is a good example. So in the transport industry, we've got all kinds of sensors which are around the cars, right? So you have all your driverless cars. That's one good example of IoT. Second good example is that you can remotely control, track, maintain your vehicles. Nowadays, you have all these apps. If you buy, let's say that Mercedes, or you buy even a car like a Kia Badass, whatever the Seltos is, they have this app, UO app. You can control everything from the car. Healthcare industry, you can do remote patient monitoring, right? So, they put some, like your Apple phone, iWatch has got for heartbeat. Next thing they're coming up is with a BP sensor, which will come very soon. So everything is there. So the doctor can monitor your heartbeat, can monitor your this thing, can do remote patient monitoring. You can configure your equipment remotely, right? You can manage your appliances remotely. There is internet. I mean, you have your smartphone. So smart homes. I'm sorry. So when you're reaching your house, you can switch the lights on, or even 1 hour before, you can start the air conditioning. You can put the geyser on. You can put your fridge, whatever. So this is all nothing but virtual appliance management. It's already there in a big way around the world, even in UAE, Singapore, etc. And these are good examples. And if I go back to the slide, Internet of Things means more data available. You can do inventory management, you can do remote management, faster buying cycles, better efficiency, etc., etc. And everything is available, as you see on your right. You can monitor everything on that. I'm conscious of the time, so I will quickly move to the next one. Now there is blockchain, which you would have all heard of. It's not really taking off right now, but it's nothing but distributed ledger on cloud. Okay, and so it basically blockchain is it's not regulated right now. So along with blockchain, there is cryptocurrency. So basically, blockchain is used for supply chain tracking, lowering operating expenses, and then cutting the middleman out, etc. And this is a good example of how blockchain works. User will request for a transaction. A block is created on cloud. A block is broadcasted, and then the chain of blocks which are mailed, and then the transaction get verified and executed. Good applications of Blackboard on 4 areas. So there is digital currency, and in digital currency you can do crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is nothing but you want some money, some businessmen want money, and if you have some money, you can say, okay, fine, I have some money, so this is crowdfunding, and the 10 people get together and say, I will generate so much of money, that will be then given to somebody else. It's also into equity market, debt, derivatives, private market, those who understand the financial business, on keeping all records, upkeeping like healthcare, title, your sales deed, etc., intellectual property. It's also into securities market, which is debt, equity, derivatives, etc., and also into contracts. So all this is a good examples of blockchain, which are, and this is just the most widely used applications in blockchain are in banking and healthcare. So this is where that is. Cloud is a big thing now. Everything is in cloud, and within cloud, people are today, organizations don't keep their own infrastructure. Everything is on basically 2 or 3 providers. So there is number one, Amazon Web Services. That's number one. And then there is Microsoft Azure. And so these are the 2 basic things, right? So everything goes on cloud. Today, if Geo is coming to you, if Netflix is coming to you, Spotify, Facebook, everything is on cloud. Nobody maintains their own servers, right? It is high-speed broadband, cheap data storage, etc. And there you have software as a service, which means that I can take some software from cloud as a service, which is like like I can take, for example, an ERP software. I can do development practices as a service. Then there is data as a service. I can buy data. I can take platform, which means I can take a whole banking platform, or I can take a whole e-commerce platform if I want to start a own business. They're all there. I can take it on a per user basis. I don't need to build my own track. If I want to build, if any one of you want to build an Amazon, you want to be the next Jeff Bezos, there are platforms which are available, readily available. You say, okay, fine, I want to use your platform. I will pay you per customer or per transaction. Perfect. You can work it. Infrastructure as a service. You can have all kinds of database, data warehousing, etc., etc. All this is all cloud. So everything is moving to cloud. The ratios have gone up tremendously. And the most important of all is software as a service, which is most important, because today every software is on cloud, which basically means that you're getting cheap data and a better quality, and your cost is much lower. Cloud service trend. So you have AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. There are three basic things, but as you can see, it's really going up. It's almost $150 billion, right? Data is everything today, as I've already spoken to you about before. But what I really want to highlight is that data science is something which is coming up to the next level. Every organization has data. You build a data infrastructure, you build a management framework, and then you build all kinds of artificial intelligence and analytics and reporting, right? But there is much more which is happening now to create, which is in terms of using algorithms for data science. So data science is the next new thing, so obviously, I mean, that's one area which is the thing. Again, a logical view. This is more technical in nature, but there are four parts to this. There is the BI analytics part, and then there is the data processing, etc., etc. But all this is leading to what is called as managed data services, right? Next slide is, again, as you see, some of the leading players in the world are in this area. So a lot of investment going into these technologies around data. Okay, so some of the big ones are Kafka, for example. There is Hadoop. Apache, Python, you must have heard these names, Cloudera, but these are the guys who are actually really creating the next generation of data science. Cyber security, very, very important, especially in COVID. Now you have hackers from Russia, from and from China and from everywhere. So data breaches become extremely. People even call you today and say, I want to pay you on Paytm. Can you give me your Paytm number, Paytm password? I want to. People get fooled. So cyber threat is becoming extremely important. There is terror financing, which is there, which happens through all these things. So basically, cyber security becomes an extremely important area for one to look at. I will pass this since given the time challenges. Two technology which I want to talk about: DevOps and Agile. So if anybody is joining the software industry, then DevOps, which is development on an agile model, right? So whatever software coding that is done in parallel. You build small building blocks, which is called containers, and then you this thing. So in a nutshell, agile and DevOps, and there are various platforms which helps you do that, are the thing if you're joining the software industry. So what I try to do is try to give you some examples in banking and manufacturing, in the e-commerce space, something in the social media space, and something obviously if you're going to be joining. But it's good for you to know that there is DevOps and there is agile. And if you look at this, I told you about containerization. Agile and DevOps is nothing. If you look at this, they're small containers. So basically you are building the whole train, but there are people in every block who are building it. It's not like I'll build first the engine and then I'll be the next one and the third one. And no, it doesn't work like that. I'm building everything in together. So another good example of Agile and DevOps is like example of road building. So if you're building a road from here to Chandigarh, like it happens in India, they go and break everything. And then they say, okay, we are building it, and they make the road, and then they make the flyovers in the end. So for 5 years, one has to do this thing. China model is very different. They take one block of 5 kilometers, then they leave some space, and they take another block of 5 kilometers, but they finish everything in 2 days, right? And so that is what is called Agile and DevOps model, which you must remember these words, right? Now, just a few more slides. Basically, what is most important in today's technology is everything. Technology is life. Everything is your mobile, and I don't think that is going to change. The mobile will only become virtual. It will become 3D, Google Glass, Geo Glass, all that will come. But what is most important, disruption will change everything. Every big organization today has caused disruption. So many years back, Facebook caused disruption, then Instagram caused, then Spotify caused, this disruption. Then Airbnb came, they caused disruption. Airbnb market cap became 20 times the sum of the market cap of all the hotels in the world. They just dropped, right? So I'm giving you good examples of how things have changed. Amazon was not there 10 years back in the top 10. Now today, Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world with $150 billion of his own personal wealth, right? Second biggest is Walmart family, right? So basically, you have to think, right? Think out of the box. Don't think that any idea is not the right idea. Take a few minutes daily, stop and think. When I say meditate to promote, it is not that you actually sit and meditate, but just sit in your space, sit in one corner, right? Just sit in your space, think how the world is changing. And the meaning of meditation is to just give your space and think what all other possibilities, right? So again, ways to think out of the box: discover and recognize patterns. Patterns means I've explained you all the patterns which are happening, right? Knowledge is one, experience is there, creativity, explore various subjects and interests, and question all the assumptions. Question all the assumptions, right? Then please ask yourself, ask what if. What if is most important. Surround yourself with out of the box thinkers. All the people who come up with the most stupid and foolish of ideas, don't ignore them, think about them. Overcome your fear of failures, because every man who has disrupted the world basically he overcame his fears. He never thought that this would be a challenge. So overcome the fears, right? And then when you're doing all this, resist the temptation of going back inside the box. So and these lines are, by the way, from a very renowned professor with whom I work very closely. These 4 or 5 slides are from Professor Vinay Shastri, who is a professor for the last 30 years, Harvard University. I've been to Harvard also for a course. And he sits on the, he sits on the board in one of the places where I am. So this is a very interesting analogy that he has given. So extraction of information and application of principles is one part. Open-minded is another part, and association of people with good ideas. So if you make that silos and boxes, not silos, if you make these boxes uncommon, this thing, you will have lots to gain. One last slide, which I will put, and this is my last slide, is the very important slide. And this is again coming from Harvard, right? Change your space, which basically means the idea of changing. We are so fixated in life. And by the way, I'm also a very fixated idea. If I do something one way, I will always do. My wife always tells me, you don't change. The last 30 years, you have not changed. But a good example here is change your space. Think a little different. Do a lot of brainstorming. Throw a lot of tons of different ideas. Okay, some ideas can be as stupid as possible, but do that. Reconceptualize the problem. Okay, looking at a problem in a different way. Look at a problem as a solution, because there are 2 things in life. A winner is part of the solution. A loser is part of the problem. You will be surrounded by people who will always come up with problems. Try to juggle out of those guys. Think that in everything there is a way to solve the problem, and think future. Learn new things. Keep broadening your horizon in all spheres. And today, with so much of knowledge on internet, everything is available. Pay attention to other people's ideas. Sometimes when somebody comes with an idea, we say that's a stupid idea. It's not. All those ideas are this thing. Apple came out of a garage, right? Google also came out of a garage. Where WhatsApp was 25 people when it got sold to Facebook for $8 billion. So it was just an idea which, Facebook also, if you look at it, it was a school app, a college app, right? And then consider the last one is change your routine. Creativity will thrive only if you don't get stuck with the same. Get out of your comfort zone. Okay, the life outside is super. It's great. There's great ideas, a great innovative things are happening. It's an amazing time. And then consider the worst case scenario also. But fear should not hold your creativity back, right? Fear should be used to leverage to move into the next level. So that is my last slide, and I will pause here. I have probably about 10 minutes, I think, whatever, 7-8 minutes, but I will pause here.
So, sir, it was great listening to you. Sir, I have some questions. If I go through your presentation.
Yes.
I could see that the technology is moving fast. It's evolving into something, a machine which can understand customers' emotion and leverage it to the benefit of the companies.
Yes.
So I just wanted to understand, now that this technology is evolving into a different dimension, wherein it can read our mind to some extent. It can read our phones. It can understand our mood and leverage. So as a customer, what will be the next generation antivirus kind of thing, which will stop these organizations reading my daily routine and understanding me that way?
So I think there are lots of laws which are coming into effect, right? So there is a European law which is called GDPR, general data protection law. So which basically means that you cannot solicit any customer, you cannot use customer information, etc., without the customer's permission, right? But what happens is that when you sign up with any of the app, whether it is Facebook or Instagram or e-commerce or whatever, there is a small line somewhere there which says that they can use your data. And I think it's up to us. We don't normally read it because we say, it's okay. But and as you are aware that Sundar Pichai was grilled in the US Senate for hours that everything, and then he actually said that yes, even if your phone is switched off, we know exactly where you are. We know where you are walking because the phone has got an inbuilt geo coordinate which is picked up by satellites, and it knows exactly. So even if you keep your phone off, Google has the data. But then he also said that we don't use that data, but that's not correct actually. So there are various laws which are going to come into effect for privacy as we move on. But in general, what happens is that you can offset yourself from getting emailers and spams and etc. So like Amazon sent, so then you can opt out. On Facebook you can go and change your privacy settings, etc. So there is a lot of options available. Unfortunately, I think everybody doesn't look at it that way, because people generally like to get some kind of good offers, so like the Starbucks thing I told you, if it doesn't matter to me if Starbucks knows I'm in New York area. How does it matter? It offered me a coffee and it gave me a discount, and it directed my wallet. When I reached there, it was cold and my coffee was ready, right? It was a good experience. So sometimes experience is so good that you say, fine, it is good. So this is where it is. But also wanted to say that the next generation of machine learning is also looking at human emotion. So I was talking about behavioral, but now there is also people asking questions on looking at the emotions part of it. So how the person's behavior, emotion from an emotional perspective, right?
And I guess, sir, with each of these technologies that you discussed, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Internet of Things, blockchain, these are itself creating a new dimension in the industry. And for us at academics, if you look at management students, we are not so very much aware of these technologies.
Okay.
However, we have got the guest lectures like you, industry leaders who've been coming and exploring these things, telling us about these new developments. How do you think, as an institute, how we should respond to these technologies? How should we make sure that the students who are MBA, not an engineering graduate, should be ready for these technologies?
No, I think, see, what is most important, as I said in the beginning, right, that there definitely needs to be some one course on, a general course, general study course of whatever number of days for all these technologies, basic, and the impact, because as they get into different areas, whether they get into technology, they get into entertainment industry, or whether they get into, e-commerce, or whether they get into whichever way, there is an impact on these technologies. So it is very good to be aware. I think you should have some small bite or whatever in it. And either you can do it in-house, somebody can prepare courses for you, or you can get some people to come and speak. So either ways, we can do it that way. That's not an issue. But you should have, because you'll prepare students better.
So we are also running out of time, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of our director, Dr. Girish Kathuria, and our dean, Dr. Aparajita Dasgupta, our assistant dean, Professor Sudhir Pasricha. And we will also thank Professor Sudhir Pasricha for inviting you to this lecture. And we are honored to listen to you, sir. And I'm sure my students who have attended this session would understand these technologies better in future, and would be preparing themselves for the upcoming challenges that technology faces towards. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of it.
Can I just say a few things? Because we have 2 minutes. Okay, so they have 2 minutes. There is a student or some gentleman called Ankit Kumar who's asked a question. In terms of sales, disruptive technologies, there are good examples, but could you please explain about outbound sales as well? Great. So I will just give you one example of what is called as a digital sales assistant, right? So today what happens is, and a real example, that the moment a customer calls up any organization, whether it's a bank or a manufacturing company or a hotel or an e-commerce, says that I want this, I want to buy this, or I want to book this, or whatever it is, right? It is recorded in the CRM system, and the CRM system will transfer this to an online digital sales assistant, which means a sales guy who's anywhere in the field. It has got a GPS position. It has got the customer's GPS address code because it picks up the pin code and immediately tell the salesperson there is an inquiry from your area. And by the way, your day today is easy because your next meeting is in 2 hours. You have time. So you enable the salesperson to say yes or no. He has to say yes. He can't say no. If he says yes, Google Map will open. Google Map will take him to the customer's place. When he sits in the customer's place, the moment he finishes the customer call, it has got a GPS position. So it will tell the salesperson, you spent 30 minutes with the customer, obviously because the phone was at one position. It knows where the location is. And by the way, it was a call, good, bad. So this is a good example of outbound sales, how things are. This is called a digital sales application. So that is one point. And there are many, many such things which do contextual commerce, which do geofencing, and it has Uberized the application. So the whole sales outbound has become Uberized. It picks up. There is one more, this is not a question, but this is there any feedback form to fill? And I'll let Amity answer that question.
Certainly, we'll ask for feedback. We'll take feedback from the participants after the session ends. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. And thank you for being part of the session, sir. We would like to have you as our industry guest for so many more sessions later in the future, so that we can understand better about these technologies. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, participants, for being with us. And now we sign off. Have a great day.